Okay, I'd like to call to order the Cumberland School Committee at 7 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, September 8th, 2022. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I would like just to acknowledge for the record that due to a variety of different personal reasons and other reasons, Mr. Fiorello, Ms. Smith, Mrs. Feather are not here tonight, and Dr. Thornton is also dealing with a personal issue, so he's not here tonight. So we do welcome Assistant Superintendent Mr. D'Amata to the stage. Next item on the agenda is approval of agenda. Motion by Mrs. Rogalski. Second by Mr. Collins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 4-0. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Item A, approval of minutes, special meeting 7/28/2022, regular meeting 8/25/2022, approval of minutes from the executive session 8/25/2022, enrollment report 9/1/2022, school police report 8/1/2022, school bus inspection report 9/1/2022, residency truancy report 9/1/2022, the Cumberland Student Athlete / Parent Handbook, and the Cumberland Interscholastic Coach Handbook. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. DeMonica, second by Mrs. Rogalski. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. The next item on the agenda is personnel announcements. Mrs. Duncanson.
Good evening. I have a few items for you tonight. First up are appointments. I did read this one last time, but I will reread it this time. Effective August 29th, 2022, Tanya Rayau to Assistant Principal, North Cumberland Middle School. Effective August 31st, 2022, Jordan Matagyaku, a grade 4, Cumberland Hill, 1 year only. Effective August 31st, 2022, Nicole Ross, PE/APE Health, Cumberland High School, 1 year only. Effective September 1st, 2022, Sarah Eubank, grade 6 Science, McCourt, 1 year only. Effective September 2nd, 2022, Cassidy Carr, kindergarten at BF Norton, 1 year only. Effective September 2nd, 2022, Sarah Yassine, reading specialist, Cumberland High School, 1 year only. Effective September 12th, 2022, Paula Pellegrino, ELA specialized classroom, ALP, 1 year only. And effective September 26th, 2022, Jessica Whitney, school nurse teacher, 1 year only. And then appointment of Jason Feast, paraprofessional, ALP, Cumberland High School, effective September 2nd. I have one coaching appointment tonight, effective September 6th, 2022, Peter Blaze, boys soccer at McCourt. And I have 4 resignations tonight, effective August 25th, 2022, Tracy Bradley, school nurse teacher at BF Norton. August 29th, 2022, Amy Dos Santos, reading specialist at Cumberland High School. Effective August 27th, 2022, David O'Neill, CTE business at Cumberland High School. Effective August 26th, 2022, Stephanie Skimba, special educator direct, ALP, Cumberland High School. Thank you.
Mr. Collins has a question.
Sorry to make you go back. I just have a quick question. I asked this
Sure.
last week. How many openings do we have posted, vacancies? I know you're scrambling around trying to fill them, and
So we are, people are out of the box being creative in how to cover classes. We have a lot of teachers teaching extra classes right now to cover for some vacancies and being compensated for that. And so currently, unfilled classes. Now that's not saying we don't have vacancy. We have unfilled positions, but we are covering them. We have 1 at the high school, 2 at the middle school. Yep.
Thank you, Mrs. Duncanson. Next on the agenda is report out of executive session meeting on 9/8/2022. Report out of executive session votes. We did not take any votes in this session. Next item is a vote to seal the minutes of the executive session. Motion by Mrs. Rogalski. second by Mr. Collins. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Mr. Demana.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Thornton did have a few things that he wanted me to share this evening. The first was an update on school opening. Dr. Thornton went around to all of the schools. He said everything was looking really great. He was checking in on the safety aspects, happy students, happy teachers, so he was really thrilled about the opening in all of the schools. He wanted me to remind the community of tomorrow evening's Cumberland Hill reopening ceremony that the community is welcome to attend tomorrow at 5 p.m. on the front lawn of Cumberland Hill. If you haven't been there, I do encourage you to, see the building. It really does look amazing. Some busing updates that he gave me. I don't really have much details. This is usually a topic that elicits many detailed type questions, but what I do know, Tracy Walton, who handles some of these things, wanted me to mention the AM routes seem to be going really smoothly. If there's a seat for every student who needs a bus, I guess that's a really good thing. Things to work on, afternoon runs have been delayed, and they believe that as bus drivers get more familiar with the routes, that things will improve in time. And that's pretty much the updates that he had. I'm sure there'll be questions about enrollment that come up a little bit later on. All right?
Any questions about school opening? Okay. And any school construction update? Anything else on that?
Not that he shared, that he wanted me to share in particular tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Devana. The next item is reports of standing committees, starting with the Fiscal Management Subcommittee update. Mr. Collins?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, fellow committee members. The Fiscal Management Subcommittee met this evening. We have payment in the bills in the amount of $1,815,178.15. Before the committee this evening, we also have 9 resolutions. Mr. Brignano also gave his monthly office report, and we're closing the books on fiscal year 2022 and projections for the current fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Next is the Policy and Procedures Subcommittee update. The chair, Mr. Fiorello, is not here tonight, but I know that we do have 2 policies that we will be either reading or voting on later tonight, and we'll talk about those at that time. The next item is the Achievement and Communications Subcommittee update that did not meet this week. And then the District Health and Wellness Subcommittee update. Mrs. Rogowski?
District Health and Wellness is looking to schedule the first committee meeting for next month, so members should look for an email.
All right, thank you. The next item is a public hearing, the reading of amended policy I-16, high school athletic extracurricular eligibility requirements. And we also have a reading of the new policy, the first reading of the F3 Energy Star equipment and appliances. I don't know, Mrs. Duncanson, if this, with Mr. Fiorello's absence, if you could speak to these.
So the first policy is a high school athletic extracurricular eligibility requirements for the high school, and I believe Dr. Santa requested that this change be made. It basically just changes the end of quarter being the qualifying grade for the next school year into the full year. So if they pass a class for the full year, they are eligible to participate in the next school year's sport extracurricular athletic event, regardless of if they fail the last quarter. The second policy is simply a regulation by RIDE that we utilize and purchase for new purchases of appliances in schools, Energy Star rated appliances. It makes sense. So I just ask that they both be read into the record.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Duncanson. Those are read into the record. Yeah, I don't think so. The next item related to those policies is a public comment related to those policies. If anyone would like to speak have any comments related to those policies, you can come up to the podium. Okay. All right, then the next item on the agenda is comments from the public. So this is open to anyone from the public who would like to speak on any topic. If you would like to do that, you can come up to the podium, state your name and your address, and just know that there is a 3-minute time limit. If anyone would like to come up, any comments from the public? That's okay.
And I'll make it clear that I don't know what your agenda is. I'm a parent. My name is Julie Vonderheide. I actually live at 14 Katy Lane, Cumberland, Rhode Island. The purpose of me coming up here is to continue this, I feel like there needs to be a bus stop for my child. This is an ongoing issue. I have stated this multiple times. I've had multiple emails back and forth with Tracy Walton. And to quote her most recent email, I don't know if you can hear me, to quote her most recent email, she had initially stated there would be a bus stop and then retracted that information. To quote her email, it says, "I apologize for any misunderstanding because of the incorrect information I received." This is her stating, "I double-checked your address with the police department and that location is not deemed a hazard for walkers to McCourt Middle School. There will not be an additional stop added. As with all walkers, if there is space available on the nearest bus, we will look to add riders." And that was kind of how it concluded. So I'm former military police, and my question specifically is, who at the police department decided that it's safe? What expert witness testimony provided that data? Because in all actuality, there should have been a traffic study done on the walking area that I'm referring to, regardless of the state mandate of it being 1.5 miles. Has to be greater than for a stop to be added. It's just underneath. So I just want to know who the expert witness was and what data's been provided. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with what a traffic study entails, but whomever provided that data to Tracy Walton should be affiliated with it. And during the repavement, there are 0 sidewalks. 0 sidewalks, 0 traffic stop signs, 0 speed bumps. So we don't live where it's 70 and sunny every day. The first day of school was 11 inches of rain. I work full-time. I do not have the time in my day to stop what I'm doing, pick up my child to make sure on those days in inclement weather where it's not sunny and 70 that he has a way to get home safely. It's just not possible. I'm a taxpayer, I'm a homeowner, I live on the line of Massachusetts. There's a bus stop for Massachusetts that's closer. Should I, could I, would I? Yes, of course. Especially because McCourt's not getting the best look, especially after this morning's drop-off and there was police everywhere breaking up a fight. So I really feel, and I don't know what the protocol is or the process, but this needs to be taken seriously because my child's safety is now in your hands if you're not going to put a bus out there. And there are other students that are going to be attending McCourt, not only on my cul-de-sac, which has brand new houses. Yes, I built my house. There are 5 houses. There was a stop, I was told, prior to COVID. Where is the stop? What do I do to get the stop to come back? Who is the authorized person to make that decision? And who was the authorized person, who was the expert police witness that provided that data that said it was safe? Because it's not safe.
All right, thank you for your comments, and we will, as part of public comments, we're not able to respond and have a dialogue. It's strictly a one-way, but I will relay this to Dr. Thornton.
I don't think that's going to work. It's going to be on deaf ears.
And then we'll
If
get those
that's
questions
the
answered.
process, I can already tell you that will be on deaf ears. I will be
I have-
happy to provide you my information, but I've already escalated this to the governor. We all know we're in an election, so that's probably going to fall on deaf ears. Ms. Walton doesn't return phone calls or emails. It's not conversational. It's combative. It's not conversational. I am 100% positive this has to happen.
Okay, I will discuss this with Dr. Thornton, but there is nothing else that we can do right now.
Is that the
at
process?
this-
I just want clarification.
Dr. Thornton is in charge of the busing routes.
That's
This is a public comment. We're not able to have an ongoing dialogue about this.
Right, I just
So
need to know the answer to
I appreciate
it.
you coming out tonight and voicing your concerns. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the process. It's going to go straight from the assistant, yourself, I'm sorry, sir. Perfect. You're going to share him. Okay, and who's going to return my
The
questions?
next,
Okay. I do feel that way, though. You understand that, right? That's why I haven't given up. Okay, and your name is? All right. And that's fine. Fine, fine. All right. Have a good night.
the next item on the agenda is old business. Discussion and or vote to approve resolutions. Mr. Collins.
Good evening. Good evening. These four resolutions under old business were tabled at our last fiscal management subcommittee meeting and the following full committee meeting. These resolutions, SCPR-08-2022-103, deal with Mayakota Consulting. The root of this was a suggestion from Owners Representation Colliers that we take a look at our bid process. Not so much the process, but the idea is to get a second look at the costs of some of the materials, et cetera, for some of our projects moving forward, in light of, skyrocketing inflation and all those. It's no secret that the cost of a lot of things have gone up, building expenses, so on and so forth. So we're going to take a second look with this consulting firm at the four schools, Ash Community, Cumberland High School, and Garvin, to see if there's any savings in there. These resolutions passed Fiscal Management Subcommittee 2-0, and I would move passage to the full committee.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve the items 1 through 4 resolutions. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. DeMonica. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It passes 4-0. Thank you. Next item is new business. Item A, discussion and or vote to approve overnight student field trips. And the first item is boys cross-country team, Manchester Invitational, Manchester, New Hampshire. Mr. Crowley.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak to you again. I'm here to petition tonight for our boys cross-country squad. And before I start, next time I'll do this all at once instead of having to come back twice. I apologize for that, okay? Our boys cross-country squad to continue its long tradition of competing out of state, just as we were here a couple weeks ago for the girls. The invitationals are both in Manchester, one in Connecticut, and one in New Hampshire. So the first one is in New Hampshire on 9/23, race day 9/24, and the one in Manchester, Connecticut is 10/7, race day is 10/8. Both these courses are championship caliber courses against championship caliber competition. And one of the good things about going out of state, which I don't know if I mentioned it last time, is you get to run against different teams and challenge your student athletes against the best from other states. So you can kind of, not duck teams, but you're not competing, bumping heads with, say, some schools that we bump heads with. I don't want to mention them, but all the time. And it's an opportunity, again, it's education-based athletics. It's part of the education process for our student athletes to get the whole high school experience in. So the Manchester, New Hampshire is the Manchester Invitational, and in Manchester, Connecticut is the Wickham Park Invitational. Both very challenging courses. Manchester, New Hampshire, you got to go up a hill like this and jump a few hurdles, and Manchester, Connecticut is a very challenging hilly course, and these are both New England Cross Country Championship courses, which we have run and hopefully will run in the future.
Any questions for Mr. Crowley? We're going to take the first one first,
Okay.
the Manchester Invitational. Any questions or comments? Okay, then I need a motion.
A motion to approve it.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve the Manchester Invitational. student field trip.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Rogalski. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 4-0. And then we'll take the second, which is the Wickham Invitational in Manchester, Connecticut?
Yes, in
also?
Manchester,
Okay.
Connecticut. There's also a pretty cool disc golf course there if anybody wants to play disc golf.
Okay. Mr. Collins?
Coach Carly, I'll have the same question I had, I had the same question I had last week, and hopefully you're going to more of these, but transportation, is it self-rent transportation?
Transportation be taken by the parents of the student athletes. Will transport their own student athlete. Each parent transport their own student athlete. And all the money is funded through the Booster Club as well. No student will be charged any fee for any of, for either one of these organizations that comes from the Cross Country Booster Parent Club.
Any other questions for Mr. Crowley? Okay, then we'll take item 2, the Wickham Invitational. Motion by Mr. Collins to approve. Second by Mr. DeMonica. All in favor? Aye. That passes 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Crowley. Good luck.
Thank you for your time.
Next item on the agenda is discussion and a vote to approve homeschool instruction requests for the 2022-2023 school year.
Madam Chair, I request approval for this evening's homeschool instruction requests.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve. Second by Mr. DeMonica. All in favor? Aye. It passes 4-0. The next item, discussion and a vote to approve hiring of an additional kindergarten teacher at BF Norton School. Mr. DeMonica?
Yes, Madam Chair, this was an unbudgeted need to add a kindergarten teacher at BF Norton. Enrollment had gotten to the point there where we needed to. We were, I believe, we were around 8 students that we had already placed in other buildings, and it was starting to become an issue with busing and busing costs of busing them across town. The numbers were so high that we couldn't not add another or consider adding another kindergarten teacher at BF Norton. And we were watching that enrollment all summer long, and we just got to the point where we couldn't hold off any longer.
Any questions for Mr. DeMonica? Mr. Collins?
Mr. Demono, or maybe Mr. Brignano, what's the anticipated cost? Are you budgeting at a top step salary, be on the safe side, or do you have a rough estimate budget-wise?
Person was on your appointment list tonight, and her step is included in there.
Madam Chair, may I add one thing? Just so you know, the enrollment right now there is 61 students in kindergarten. We had 2 sections. You're looking at 30 and 31 students in 2 sections. Not possible. So now it's 21 students in one and 20 in the other 2. Okay?
Thank you for that. Okay, I need a motion for this one. Motion by Mrs. Rogalski to approve the hiring of the additional kindergarten teacher, and second by Mr. Collins. All in favor? Aye. That passes 4-0. Thank you. Discussion and a vote to approve amended policy I-16, high school athletic extracurricular eligibility requirements. We did speak to this earlier this evening. There was one small change to that policy. Are there any questions or comments on that?
Make the motion.
Okay, Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rogalski. All in favor? Aye. That passes 4-0. The next item is discussion and a vote to approve new policy. This is the first reading. We don't vote on this tonight? No.
The good thing that I'm reading the policy on policy making, it's
Yeah.
irrelevant here, but you're correct in the policy.
Okay, do we need to officially table this, or? No action. Okay, no action on this. The next item is discussion and a vote to approve resolutions. Mr. Collins?
Okay, so we have the 5 remaining resolutions that all passed fiscal subcommittee 2-0. First one, SCPR-2022-06 is the approval of the sliding scale positions. And, you know, that every year we have that kind of window, the hiring scale, the G6 believe, it's just, yeah, just E6, the first one. And then the second and third deal with payment for services rendered on the school construction projects. Number 4 deals with cleaning out some toxic chemicals from the high school science department. We don't want to just flush those down the drain. And then finally is Naviance, which is for individual student learning plans, which the district is already using. Again, this did pass fiscal management subcommittee 2-0, and I'd move passage to the full committee for the year.
Mr.
Slightly
Collins
full.
makes a motion to approve resolutions items 1 through 5. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. DeMonica. All in favor? Aye. Those pass 4-0. The next item is discussion and a vote to approve payment of bills. Mr. Collins?
Good to be back. We have payment in the bills in the amount of $1,815,000, $815,178.15. The payment of bills passed fiscal management subcommittee 2-0, and I would move passage to the full committee.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve payments of bills. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. DeMonica. All in favor? Aye. Passes 4-0. The next item on the agenda is school committee comments. Any comments from the school committee? I would just like to commend everyone for the beginning of school, always a big milestone to open, and wishing everyone an awesome school year, and a reminder, like Mr. Demana said, about the opening ceremony at Cumberland Hill tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and then they'll give tours afterwards. Any other comments? The next item is vote to go into executive session. We do not have executive session tonight, so the next item is adjournment. Motion by Mrs. Rogalski,
Second.
second by Mr. Collins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:26 PM. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.